from the perspective of an outsider, because I'm technically not considered a local, this is how I genuinely feel. I feel like a lot of people are, or even like specific individuals, are being constantly watched, monitored, or being policed, not by the authorities or the public transport operators themselves, but from other bus enthusiasts. Like, they are legit doing it to their own kind, that kind of thing. Recently, there hasn't been a lot of like quote unquote rare cameos, and I'm kind of thankful for that, because I don't really have to like keep putting myself in danger of these people, typically between the ages of like 13 to 25. I had to raise the bar a little bit, because there is actually one person amongst those I've mentioned who is actually 25 this year. And if you see all these reports about like, bus enthusiasts or bus drivers going to jail and stuff like that, that's not the end of it. There are still a lot of like these kinds of people that are still lurking in the community, but they just haven't gotten caught yet. Like, for example, there is like a 39-year-old who is like constantly hanging out with kids, even though he has a wife and a kid of his own, and constantly takes advantage of kids, just in general. When I mean kids, I mean like even people under the age of like 18. And I agree that like we technically don't need to care about them and just go on with our lives. But sometimes, even when we do literally nothing, they are still trying to like police other people for doing nothing. So what I've said just now is basically like a bit more on the serious side of things. And realistically, I don't really expect things to improve in the next upcoming years or something. Like, to sum it up, it's more of like, even when we are quiet, even when we don't do anything, we're still being like watched by them. And yes, if you are like famous or a public figure, then obviously you would be subject to that. That's not the issue. The issue is kind of when like things kind of spin out of control and you get implicated unfairly, even though you never really did anything wrong. Like, you're just standing up for yourself, your own rights, stuff like that. And the thing is, like, I genuinely have never seen like something to this extent from the Hong Kong bus community or like the Japanese bus community. Like, yes, Hong Kong, they have their own issues. They usually just like settle it in public or stuff like that. I don't know, but like, I have never seen like this magnitude of issue like ever. It's only really a thing with like the Singapore side of things from my own experiences. And yes, I do know that Singapore has conscription, and because of that, there are some of the youngsters or like adolescent teenagers basically that they just have tendencies to exhibit sorts of like these sorts of like toxic masculinity behavior like at that age, because they're immature and stuff like that. That's only one part of it. Although I have actually seen one individual that openly mocks people with like Down syndrome or people who are like under spectrum and stuff like that. And I mean, you could say that they are teenagers, they're just immature, but like this doesn't really excuse them from like this kind of behavior in that sense. And yes, on my part, I think some people might feel that like I'm way too, so-called harsh with the neurodivergence, but the thing is, sometimes you have to be like a little firm with them, just explicitly tell them if something is right or not right. Because if you don't do so, like when they are younger, like when you don't tell them what is right and what is wrong, they wouldn't really be able to like develop critical thinking like at a later stage of their life. And then when they have no critical thinking, they're unable to like fend for themselves. And I have seen this from my own experience. People who used to be okay, but they eventually get recruited into like those rogue bus enthusiasts that pretend to be okay with these neurodivergents. They pretend to like embrace them and stuff like that, but in reality they just like, how do you say, they just like take advantage of them, pretend to be friends with them, and yeah, some of them they eventually like do become close to one another. And I mean like a neurodivergent versus a rogue, they actually get close together. And when the rogues actually start validating the neurodivergence, that their actions are okay or stuff like that, that's when things really get out of control. So it's like, I feel that it's better to just like snap them out of it, tell them, hey, you need to think before you talk or stuff like that. And if not, you're gonna get taken advantage of by other people later in life. And I just really don't want to see any more of these people getting recruited into these like rogue bus enthusiast cliques. And that's why I just want to like develop their I just want them to like develop some sense, some form of like critical thinking before they get themselves into like further trouble. In essence, they're being used by other neurotypicals or even other neurodivergents whom have been watched by other neurotypicals per se. I can work on that. Like, I can work when it comes to like trying to tell things to neurodivergent people. I can work on that. It's just, you have to understand from my point of view that if you just say, oh, whatever they say is okay, without telling them, it's like, if you don't tell them what is right and wrong from the very beginning, they're not gonna know how to fend for themselves when somebody else who happens to be from the rogue cliques tells them that this is okay, this is right, this is wrong, or something along those lines. And keep in mind that younger people, they tend to be more vulnerable. So that's actually one reason why the rogue cliques, they tend to recruit people when they are still like teenagers and stuff like that. But the biggest issue I have with like the Singapore bus community is that there is actually this societal pressure to conform, or like societal pressure to be as normal as possible as a bus or train enthusiast. And when you're making like jokes or something, you're only allowed to make like community approved jokes, stuff like that. I don't know why that's even a thing, but like apparently they make all these sorts of rules and stuff like that. They try to decide what's funny and what's not funny and stuff like that. Because ironically, Singapore bus enthusiasts, they already get kind of a bad rep from the public, either due to their actions or the public just isn't really accepting of people that have these unconventional hobbies. It doesn't matter if they're like neurotypical or neurodivergent or what, but it's like, it's just ironic that like with these unconventional hobbies, like not many people have such hobbies. Even train as a hobby is like way more common, but it's like with such unconventional hobbies, obviously the amount of like the number of like neurodivergent people, it'll be more than like people within those like the communities of those a bit more typical hobbies, basically bus and train side. Because there's a lot of like, I don't know how to say it, it's like visual stimuli, audio stimuli, and because the neurodivergence, for some reason, I don't know how to say it, but it's like scientifically they're more attracted towards it. Again, I'm not a neurodivergent myself, so I don't really know how to like explain these things or like how to relate to these things, but just take it that, you know, the bus community just happens to have like a higher percentage of people that are on the spectrum, basically. And usually when you see all these like articles online, they try to like, I don't know, try to paint a picture that this hobby isn't just filled with people who are neurodivergent or what. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like, I feel like when it comes to like the public rep, just in general, I feel like the public doesn't actually see the amount of bullshit that goes on within the community. They just see it on the surface based on like the news articles and stuff like that. It's not really painting like the most accurate picture of what is actually happening behind the scenes. I could illustrate with a few examples. It's like, but in general, it's basically like bus enthusiasts are being pressured by their own community, like there's a societal pressure that's like kind of unspoken, to remain as like so-called normal as possible within the hobby itself. And it's like, if you try to stand out from other people, if you try like in your own way, not stand out in a community approved way, if you try to stand out from other people and you try to be yourself or give your most honest thoughts, then expect there to be a lot of backlash against you because you just happen to be like different from them. And when I say irony, I mean like you are already a marginalized group from the public. Not your fault, but you're already a marginalized group when it comes to like the public's perception. But within your own community, it's not just like the neurotypicals that do the marginalizing. Even the neurodivergents themselves, because you know they tend to have like typical traits such as like being very rigid, textbook, and stuff like that. Unintentionally, the community as a whole tries to outcast and marginalize other people as well. Anyway, this is from like my own observations. But just take it that the community at large, obviously not everybody is like that. I have met some decent, nice people as well, but it's just that like the community at large, if I were to like generalize things, there is this pressure from them to like act as normal as possible. Like your YouTube titles have to be as normal as possible, and there is a certain approved way of like clickbaiting in some sense. But then again, like, you know, when something bad happens within the community and it gets kind of publicized to different extents, there'll usually be a bunch of like kids or teenagers who they will be the very first to comment on things like that. Like when somebody does a wrong thing, like let's say trespassing, or like, you know, they walk into the bus park or something along those lines, they would usually be very, very quick to like scold other people for doing these acts, even though they themselves do it. But obviously they're so-called cunning and smart enough not to disclose it to others that they actually do the same acts themselves. Or they would be like, I'm a bus enthusiast, but I do not do these actions. It's like, usually most of the comments would actually be like this, or there would just be like people just flat out scolding the bus enthusiast, like bus enthusiasts scolding other bus enthusiasts. In some cases that's justified, but sometimes it's more of like those people, they just want that validation from other people, like from other bystanders, that they're scolding other people and putting other people in their place, that kind of thing. But the more I observe, the more I start to notice that the same people who are actually criticizing others for their behavior is these exact same groups of people are the ones that are actually causing the most trouble within the community, and not those whom got criticized. Sometimes it's both, but like I just happen to notice that, like, I don't know, it's just Singaporeans, they just have this culture that they just love to, you know, like when somebody does something wrong, they just are very quick to like want to put people in their place, want to scold them, want to do all these sorts of things. And it's always coming from the same people. It usually, like the sort of, I want the validation that I am a well-behaved bus enthusiast, unlike those road kids. So the more I say it online, the more validation I get from the bystanders that have seen my comment on Instagram. Anyway, this is like the kind of feeling that I get from like these people. It's like when people actually, other people do these acts, they're very quick to criticize. But then when it happens to them, like themselves, they don't take responsibility for their own actions, and sometimes the community gives them a free pass because this person is like kind of, oh, he's like he's very famous, infamous, or well known in within the community, and if he does it, it's okay, but when other people do it, it's not okay. So they tend to give people free passes when it comes to this. So when you see comments like, I am a bus enthusiast, but I do not behave like this, I always tend to get like a little bit, some of them are genuine, but I always tend to get a little suspicious when these accounts, usually they have like bus registration plate usernames, usually they tend to like give off such vibes. Now when it comes to like the clickbait portion of it, I feel like they tend to have like categories of like acceptable videos, which are like hyperlapses, transit races, meaning like you take route A, you take route B, let's see who wins, or like the kind of myth busting fun facts you didn't know about like this transport system. Even though most of the time, from my experience watching these videos, the myth busting and fun facts, they are not very well done, objectively speaking, because nobody really is there to give information that people don't know. A lot of times they already give information that other people know, and they're just only doing this because their videos look cinematic and stuff like that. Hyperlapses, transit races, myth busting and fun facts, joyrides, tour videos, music videos, or it's like a bus showcase. When I mean bus showcase, they would camp outside the interchange or terminals, like a big one, and then I myself do that as well, but it's like they would usually, when something happens, they would usually camp outside, and they don't even ride the bus themselves. They are like toritetsu in some way. Like, nothing wrong with that. They are just like they just film buses passing by the interchange or terminal, or they just snap them. They don't actively like go out of their way to like actually document stuff, unless it's like quote unquote rare enough for them to warrant such a thing. And even when such quote unquote rare cameos happen, a lot of it gets under documented as well. And obviously you see a lot of like BYD or Zhongtong electric bus videos, or maybe if you search Leisure Frontier, for example, you wouldn't even really get a lot of like coach videos. You would just see just the same boring A22 video. But it's like, how do they put it? It's like, I know the community like from the beginning of time already has this habit of like sidelining and not caring about coaches. They only want like city bus vehicles per se. And when you do stuff like Leisure Frontier, it's like society, when I say society, I mean like the Singapore bus community. It's like society sort of expects you to give out a MAN A22 Leisure Frontier bus. Like, they just want MAN A22, even though it's like, it's just an A22. It's not something that's like objectively exotic or anything. It's not even SMB 138Y or what. It's just, there is this expectation, you get what I mean? It's like, to stay within the whole norm, any bus video from Leisure Frontier must be A22, otherwise I won't hype, I won't watch it, or stuff like that. in essence, try to be as normal or stay within the accepted. How to say it? It's like, I don't know, it's like when you use a Venn diagram, there are some of it, it's like okay, some of them it's accepted, some of them it's like not accepted. It's like there is this pressure to stay within the accepted range of like videos per se. Cause I actually searched YouTube. Pretty much nobody filmed the NEL bridging bus from the start to the finish. Like, you know, within this category. I only saw like LRT A, LRT B, and that's it. And then even when it comes to like the individual loops, cause like there was a power fault and then all the bridging buses were activated, nobody even really cared about like Sengkang West LRT. So in case you don't know what I'm talking about, because this stretch of road, actually, in fact, from here, oh no, there's 654. My bad. This stretch of road from Anchorvale Street, Fernvale Street, in between Anchorvale Road and Kupang LRT, usually there is no bus at all within this stretch. But when there's a power fault or there's something bad that happens to like Sengkang LRT, and the bridging buses get activated, there will actually be a bus in this direction, because it's only the anti-clockwise loop, it's not a clockwise loop, that usually pass by how do I say it? There is usually what am I trying to say? Okay. Usually there are no buses along this stretch that I highlighted. But when the bridging buses get activated, there is finally a bus that passes by here. And I forgot how often Sengkang West LRT, the bridging bus, gets activated, but when I actually tried to search for videos, there is like almost none. At most I get like Maxon's video just doing general documentation of like those buses, which is good, but I was expecting to see more videos because this is one road that usually doesn't get buses, but apparently nobody actually bothered to film it. Maybe there were, but yeah. It's the fact that like when you tell them that, hey, nobody has ever filmed this, or like, hey, these buses, they don't get activated often, and this is your chance to like film this, or like film this. Nobody like listens to you. All they're interested in doing is just normal joyrides, normal tours, normal music videos, or like normal bus showcases from the interchange and terminal. They snap or they film outside these Sengkang or Punggol interchange, and then they just title their video, bridging buses at Sengkang, bridging buses at Punggol. Usually the scope is just limited to this, and it's like the bus community is like doing it to themselves. And I think some other people are like pressured to stay within this range, because if you do anything that's like outside this range, you just won't get views when it comes to like the Singapore algorithm. Singapore bus community YouTube algorithm. It's like when people are pressured to stay within like the popular videos or stuff like that, they don't really try to produce like anything new. And in fact, if you try to search for like the premium bus service videos, all you will find is my videos. I was like, there are some other people that actually film them as well, but majority of them, even up till today, it's still by me. In the past, there were other YouTubers. There was like TIB12340 that did quite a number of the SBS Transit premium service hyperlapses as well on a B9TL ride, which is good. He also did like 982E and stuff like that, but it's like, I know premium buses are like, you have to wake up at like 6 a.m, 7 a.m, no, like 5 a.m, 6 a.m, 6:30 a.m. to even be able to like catch them, because it's like quite far. But yeah, so I'm not expecting there to be like a lot of videos, but I'm still quite shocked that even up till today, nobody even went to film the PM trips of like, let's say, 555, 722, or even the new 721. Like, because it's not a public bus, Like it's not a city. It is a public bus, but because it's not a city bus, it's a coach. It just gets tossed aside in favor of all these like things when it comes to like the bus com. And it's not like when you do a joyride tour music video bus showcase, it'll get loads of views or anything. But it's like I feel that a lot of people within the Singapore bus community, they are just like pressured to stay within the typical types of like videos in order to stay relevant. Like for me, I don't give a shit. I don't even like care about how many subscribers I have. Like I just do my own thing. But apparently some people are like not happy about it. They're unhappy about the fact that I am like so different from them. Like how do I say it? Singaporeans in general, I just find that they have like a huge difficulty when accepting people's like differences in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know, the kind of differences that the media often talks about, but it's like even these like little differences, I feel that they have like a hard time accepting, and therefore like new content creators, they're even pressured to stay within like the typical range that I highlighted below, or maybe at most this. Because here's the thing, there are already the accomplished hyperlapsers. There are already accomplished joyriders. Technically Maxon is one, but like, I mean, he makes good content, that's why he gets all the subs. But the thing is that like, if there are people already doing hyperlapses and joyrides, and there is no, let's say you really want to build up your channel and stuff like that, like you really have intentions, I feel like you can do this, there's nothing wrong with it, but you shouldn't try to compete with them. You have to try to stand out in your own way. I know it's difficult, but it's like you have to get people to watch or listen to you talk. Like you have to get people to watch your videos that are clearly different from the other. It's like what you have, they don't have. What they have, you don't have. It's like a mutual thing. It's impossible for one person to like do every single thing. So I feel that like they should try to explore areas that like other people haven't done so. And you don't really need to like copy. I feel that one major downfall with most people is that they try to copy or imitate others a lot. A little bit it's fine, but it's like a lot to the point whereby they lose their own identity, or to the point whereby they unintentionally become inferior versions of the hyperlapsers or the top hyperlapsers or joyrider videos. There's nothing wrong with like doing these videos. It's just that like I feel that when people, as I've mentioned before, when people are pressurized to stay within the whole scope, that whole limited scope of things, it just makes content very, very stale. And it's the same with this one as well, because nobody really goes the extra mile to try to explain stuff that people don't really know. There's nothing wrong with these videos. Again, I have to emphasize, it's just that it remains really stale. And even when I told them you can use SBS SMRT buses, you can just write buses to recreate old routes, nobody like tries to listen as well. I'm like, at this point I'm like, okay fine, you guys are kind of hopeless already. Like I'm doing this video because I really want people to at least attempt or try to broaden your scope. If it does, but like in a natural way, not in a forceful way. If it doesn't work, it's fine, you can just keep experimenting with yourself. Because it's like, limiting yourself to one type of video is very, very risky, in the sense that like, you have to be the top, you have to do what you do best really, really well in order for people to like want to come back and watch your videos in the future. if not. And then even as you do what you do best, it's also good if you try to like incorporate like other types of videos as well, so that in case one type of video eventually becomes obsolete, you could then gradually shift your focus to like another kind of video. It can be like bus, train, elevator, escalator, it can be trucks, it or even like if you want to cycle along like the, what do you call that, the PCN network, pedestrian cycling network. Yeah, I don't know what the acronym is stands for, but like, yeah, I just wish, I just want to tell people that like there is no way you can ever surpass Maxon, or there is no way, like realistic way, you can ever surpass. Yes, you, as in like you could, he can hand over the torch to you or something along those lines, but realistically speaking, there is a ceiling, and it's not easy to break that ceiling. And realistically, 99% of people are just not able to become better than the existing YouTubers per se, because they already have like their own audiences accumulated from the beginning of time. So it's more of like, I feel like you shouldn't try to like overly market yourself as like a hyperlapser or a joyrider is fine, but I think that one still has like a little bit of potential that you could still squeeze a little bit out of it, despite Singapore bus scene being quite boring now as compared to like years ago. Yes, you can still squeeze a little bit. It's just when you venture too much into like one area, it's just kind of risky. So I want to encourage people to like try to broaden their scope a little bit, but in a natural way, not forcefully broadening it in some sense. It doesn't necessarily have to be like related. It can be something that's like completely unrelated, but you try to tie them in together. It's fine. Like just do what works for you. Because admittedly, it is really tiring when I try to search for new content on YouTube, but all I get is like, there's nothing wrong with those videos, but all I get is just Joyride Tour music video bus showcase. Like, that's all. And in this part, it's like, when you do this kind of stuff, it's like kind of selfish. That's all. But when you think about it, it's 2025 and the bus scene is already kind of boring. So I don't even understand objectively why you would even need to like hide and fake cameos in the first place. And the thing is like, a lot of people, they try to fake cameos just to get a reaction out of people without realizing that their targets aren't even interested in chasing the buses that they're trying to fake, like the cameos that they're trying to fake. So yeah, that's on them. This is not something that only the kids do. Even the adults as old as 25, they even do this. Which is just like, do you guys have like nothing better to do? Seriously. Although from my own experience, there are some people who are like really, really clout driven. Like when it comes to their Instagram photo album that I've talked about, it's when it's like, I don't know what you guys want. It's like when other people hide cameos, you get mad at them, but you yourself hide cameos. When people report cameos, report your live location and stuff like that, you also get mad because you want to hide them, stuff like that. For me, it's like, when it's like a really, really rare cameo, technically I don't have to do that, but it's like, because if it's like a quote-unquote rare cameo, like you know, maybe the B5LH running on like some service. Yes, I'm filming, but since I still have access to like the internet, I can update people about like the live location. Especially when it's not something that you can easily hunt, like let's say a single decker on 143, that's easily detectable because people can just check the app. If it's a bus service that has a lot of SDs already, then it becomes like quite hard to hunt, right? And at the heat of the moment, like when you're actually going to chase a cameo, you don't necessarily know when the bus is going to off service. So if there are other people that like genuinely want to catch that cameo, you would update them about the live location, right? So on board one of the B5LHs, I B5LH runs, I was like updating people about the live location of the bus. And then another person who like boarded the bus was like just muttering to his other bus enthusiasts, that like he was accusing me of like being a show off, and he was really really mad at me for reporting the live location, like the actual live locations, like where the bus is now, like every 5 minutes or so, or every next stop, or every alternate stop or every major stop I would like, you know, update them regarding like where the bus is currently. And apparently during that day he was just really mad at me because he wanted to hide that cameo really really badly. But I don't understand what's the purpose of hiding when that bus literally did like 3 trips. One from Jurong East to Bedok, one from Bedok to Jurong East, and then a final one from Jurong East to Bedok before at OS. I only was interested in the first trip as usual, but yeah. So it's like, even when you do so-called nice things for the community, you also get hated on by these rogues. And these rogues, I don't know, for some reason they tend to have like this, like, they tend to be control freaks, they tend to have a firm grip, or be very influential. That's why SG buses coined the term bus influencers. They are like, they want the clout to themselves. They want to hide the cameo so that only they get the photo, only they get the most likes on Instagram. So this is what I mean by like clout driven. You're so clout driven to the point whereby when other enthusiasts, they do just normal things, they're just happy to be on board the bus, they want to pose for the camera, and then you start cursing at them because you don't like their presence. And I don't know why people are like, it's not like their own Instagram is like I do know Instagram has monetization options, but their Instagram, they just have a lot of followers. It's not like they're monetized or anything. So objectively, I don't even know what they have to gain from this. Like, why are you claiming that you want a content farm, but you're not really getting anything out of the content farm except for like satisfaction, personal satisfaction, or like just the validation that you caught a rare cameo, or cloud? I don't even really understand what they gain from it. It's not like they're gaining money from it. It's like they have to get to the location where the cameo spawns at, right? Or where they have to track the bus, and they have to chase the cameo bus, which costs money. Not a lot, but like, and then you don't really gain your money back or anything. It's just, I don't know how to say it. It's like, it's basically when one person has a lot of followers on Instagram or stuff like that, and then because of all this content farming thing, they become really clout driven and stuff like that. I don't know how to explain, okay? I cannot possibly, it's like, it's very hard to put myself into their mind, okay? I mean, if they want to continue this kind of behavior, it's kind of their thing, right? But I don't understand why other people have to be dragged into the mess or be implicated because they choose to not be selfish and choose to disclose the publicly available cameo to other people. I don't get it. It's not like a private tour or anything, but yeah. It's like you're trying to hide something that is more or less easily trackable by other people. And when the bus does more trips, obviously it'll get seen, right? People would just chain report the cameo and stuff like that. Because I genuinely feel that this kind of like social media clout it's just really destructive. And you're just bringing a lot of like negative energy to wherever you go. Like imposing that people behave a certain way, imposing that people hide the cameos, and stuff like that, and imposing that people act normal, imposing that people have to do normal videos. stuff like that. This is all what I mean by like the pressure of like being normal within a marginalized group of enthusiasts, being normal within a marginalized community, marginalized by the public, but they marginalize their own people in the process. Because I really think, even though I myself don't do that, because it's like, what the fuck, why do I really need to clickbait when I can just put something that's a bit more genuine? I mean, I'm just like, I just say my thoughts out. Like, I'm pretty unfiltered. Every single title of mine is pretty much whatever I'm thinking at that point of time. I don't really like struggle to like think of a title or what. Because in the end, I feel like, is the video about yourself as a content creator, or are you genuinely willing to showcase the buses in whatever way? Is the bus video about you or the buses itself? So, because as I've said in like previous videos, it's starting to become an Instagram caption contest or a photo contest, as opposed to you genuinely appreciating bus history or like even present day stuff like that. It has really turned into like some social media non-monetized competition, which is like, I don't even get the point of it. If it's like a competition and then prize money is at stake, then if people get competitive, then it's like normal, right? It's a competition. But like right now, I don't even understand the whole point of like a non-monetized competition when it comes to like all those Instagram likes and stuff like that. Because I feel like the bus community in Singapore, it's just gradually, sometimes I just question, it's just gradually losing the whole essence of like chasing buses. It's like, do you truly like buses? Or they're just there as a just a mere hobby for you to pass time? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, but somehow you turn it into a social media contest when nobody asked for like said social media contest in the first place. And then the thing is that this Sengkang West Loop, like, okay, I don't even know how to clickbait sometimes, but like, and I don't want to do that, but you could technically say, even if you're like typical, I find that so old, like so early 2010s, all the exclusive titles with the spammed exclamation marks and stuff like that. Even all the exclusive things, you want to clickbait using exclusive, you want to clickbait using like, there is finally a bus that goes through Kupang LRT, Anchorvale Street, Fernvale Street. You want to give an eye-catching caption or title. Even this small stretch of road has a lot of clickbait potential objectively, and I feel that whereas even though Singapore bus enthusiasts, they love to clickbait a lot, whether said clickbait works or not is another thing, but like, I just find it ironic that they love to clickbait a lot, but they don't even try to hunt the things that are actually clickbait worthy, like the Sengkang West LRT loop, where there is this unique sector, which is really, really odd to me. And I'm not saying they have to film the entire thing. Of course, it's good if you film the entire thing, but there should at least be one full trip of the route. But like, even if it's just this sector, I'm just surprised that nobody actually went for this, pretty much. Or even tried to capitalize on this actual clickbait opportunity. So in essence, unfortunately, Singapore bus community has, over the years, turned bus spotting into a clickbait contest or a, as I've mentioned, number of likes or Instagram caption contest to see who gives the most. And when they bring out all these like snippets of history, most of the time it's fake. They just copied it out of like some website just so that, hey, you know a little bit of history. I'm trying to revive history. No, you're not. You're just interested in your number of likes on Instagram or how well you clickbait on YouTube. Which is like, it's a good thing that people know about this history. It's a good thing that the bus history videos actually spread. It's just that like, I feel it's a really plastic or fake way to bring out history. It's like, yes, it's a good thing that people know about history. It's just that like they just like it's just they just put the caption there and then end of day. They don't really elaborate on said history or anything. It's just very superficial. It's a very superficial way of like, yes, that's the word. Superficial way of like embracing history. Is just like you snap a rare cameo with a certain livery and you try to like do a history based caption. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that like the way they do it really gives off the impression that they're more interested in content farming as opposed to like actually embracing Singapore bus history. That's my other issue with them. It's a good thing that people over time they know about history. It's just that like the way it's being presented to people, it's like I don't know if it's content farming or like actual embracing of history. So yeah, that's a thing. Like just typical influencer things, I would say. Cause when you think about it, the Instagram driven clout is the main cause of the people doing all these control car shenanigans or like pasting not a legitimate but their own mate 812 desto on the Scania KUB just to content farm, you know. I mean, I talked about this before, but 299 there was a control car, 812 there was a control car and the desto as well. But yeah, it's just sad that like this whole Instagram driven clout thing has caused people to misrepresent history or not bring it out genuinely, as well as like leading to all these like really superficial content farming things like bus influencers basically. Again, if it's like your bus captain friend, okay fine, but don't do it to like normal bus captains. They'll be super confused why you're even putting the desto there. It's just a lot of people, they take advantage of like the bus captain's niceness. Oh my god. And when I mean I'm putting myself at risk when I'm so-called chasing these quote-unquote rare cameos, basically it feels like you're being stalked, monitored, closely watched, or being policed by those people, like what you do and what you say. It's being like tightly controlled by all these bus influencers whom often try to paint you in a bad light, even though your own intentions are not bad. Because at the end of the day, as a matter of fact, I have liked buses and trains, but more on the bus side, ever since I was like 4 to 5 years old. So I started at year 2003, year 2004 or something along those lines. There are people my age who started later. It's like, how to say it? It doesn't matter when you start or when you... what am I saying? It doesn't matter when you start being a bus enthusiast. I don't know if anybody feels the same way, but it's really insulting when you see other people, like other enthusiasts, treating your own hobby as a joke or like their own playground and be disruptive to other people. Or like they started liking buses at a later time as compared to you, which is, there's nothing wrong with it, but when they try to hype themselves up that they are like this, when I mean hype themselves up, it's like when they say, oh, I have a passion for buses, I'm truly passionate for it, it's my hobby, it's what I do to pass time or whatever. If it's genuine, then it's okay. But when they are born later than you, when they do all these stupid stunts online or offline, and they try to justify that, oh, I have a passion for buses, it's like, you know they're not genuine about it. You know it's really superficial. Like that they are trying to turn something that you really liked a lot, especially from a young age, into... They're just like slowly but surely destroying the whole essence of like the hobby in general. Because it was definitely never meant to be a competition or a caption contest for Instagram likes. It was never meant as like, again, the exact same caption contest people putting in snippets of history but in a superficial way. It was never meant to be like, oh, who gets the best shot of a rare cameo, who makes the best destos, or it was never ever meant to be like as a competition. I mean, technically YouTube, it's kind of a competition to see who gets the most money out of it, right? But I mean, the whole essence of it, it's like, as long as you're doing like good with it, it's fine if there is like a little bit of competition to see who gets the most money. It's natural. At least that one's actually natural. So my question to said bus influencers, like, what exactly do you gain out of it? Are you someone that's truly passionate for buses, that liked buses from a young age? Or it's like, it's just another hobby to you, just another so-called playground in a bad way to you? Are buses more important, or is yourself more important when content farming? Do you want people to remember you for yourself, or do you want people to genuinely remember the bus history, and everything? You don't want them to get lost in time? I want you to think about it. Are you doing videos because you want to follow trends or they're popular, or you actually want to do these videos, like genuinely showcasing things that other people might not know, or like your own form of content? And the following trends part, I really want people to think about it, because it's not a deep or hard question. And I genuinely hope this is not the last time oh my god, I genuinely hope this is the last time that I ever have to talk about this. Sorry for that. Because it's not like the kids doing silly antics on board public transport that is the main problem. At most I can say they're just excited for the debut. The real problem is usually the ones that are criticizing them from behind the screen. I mean, technically I'm also doing it as well, but if you actually listened to my message carefully, you would know what I mean and what I am really referring to.